Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Broyans Farm. I just got done in the greenhouses. Came down here now to the high tunnel that I've been fixing up now for like the past week, off and on. Like I showed you before, got this door all done yesterday. My dad, my buddy Alex, Trevor, my sister, her fiance Daniel, we're all down here working on it. What we're doing now is putting up the C-channel, which is this stuff right here. And if you've never seen this before, basically it just makes life a lot easier because instead of using a lath board like we've always used, because this is an older greenhouse right here, we're now going to use that C-channel. And what the C-channel does is, you can see it running along the whole bottom of the greenhouse, and I can't really show you, but it also runs along the whole perimeter. And what we do is, when we put the plastic on, we drape it over, and then we take our wiggle wire and we lock the plastic in here with that wiggle wire, and makes it so much easier. There's no screwing, no lath boards, no nothing, but the ends still had all that old lath board. So what we're doing now is getting a bunch of the C-channel, fastening it on that way, instead of lathing around this whole fan and around the door. We can now put the wiggle wire in and it'll be a lot more secure. And a good example of that is right here. So yesterday, this is what we got done. You can see the whole door is framed out, and then around the whole door is framed out. The fan's gonna go here. Well, actually not the fan, this is the louvers. Now this louver has a flange going around the whole outside. So once we put the plastic on, that flange is gonna cover the plastic, and then we'll screw through the fabric and through the metal louvers. That way, that holds it on itself. So this side is completely done. If you have a nice sharp screw, you can actually screw through this without drilling a pilot hole, but it makes it so much nicer if you just drill it first. I already went through and marked it with the marker.
Is gonna hit that. I don't know if there's something else I can do.
Dad's working on removing the old radiator out of the International.
What's it hitting? I don't get it. All right, beautiful. So now I'm gonna clean all this up and then I'll call you back again. Okay, I'll get this cleaned up and prepped and ready to go, and then I'll call you back.
So the radiator's out. There it is, and then the new one is right here. It took me a little while, but I think the greenhouse is now just about ready for plastic. You can see I put this 2x6 in here because we need some kind of little sliding handhole to reach in and out to grab this, to open and close the door if we need to. Got all the C-channel around down here at the far end. The inflation fan went bad. And if you don't understand what the inflation fan does, you're gonna see it later on tomorrow when we're putting the plastic on this greenhouse. I got the water line zip tied up to the greenhouse. We don't want anything in our way tomorrow when we're trying to lay the plastic over. And so this used to be all the way down there, but with the greenhouse angling down this way, I thought, well, we might have better pressure if we start at the top and work our way down. So now the water line comes up, hooks into our drip line, which is right here, or this is actually our header line, and then that will hook into our 4 drip lines, which will go all the way down. We got the jig here to put our plastic on so we can roll it out over the greenhouse. This is my cousin's. I'm not sure if he designed this or he bought it like this. I don't really know, but whoever thought of it had a pretty good idea, because we can go into it with our forks, with our skid loader, put the roll of plastic on that metal bar, pick it up to the height of the greenhouse, and then just unroll it all the way down. Now it's starting to get late and I gotta go close up the greenhouses. My parents left to go to some kind of meeting, and so I'm basically the only one here on the farm. Check the temp. It's 70 and the sun's going down. It's actually getting cloudy, so yeah, it's time to close up. So it's the next day and we couldn't put plastic on the lower high tunnel like I wanted to. It was, as you can tell, it's windy right now, and even half this wind is too windy when working with a big sheet of plastic and trying to lock it in, and if it's flipping up in the air, it's just too much. So we had to scrap the idea for today. Hopefully we can do it tomorrow. Right now, Mom, Pap, Graham, and Sammy are all in their greenhouses working on either watering or transplanting some kind of plant. And so I was helping them, but now I gotta start working on the high tunnels. Pap's working on peppers. I guess Mom is also working on peppers. Graham is filling flats right now, and she's also working on peppers. We got a lot of peppers to get done.
Pepper season.
Yeah.
Pepper time.
Sammy's working on, I think, the first, second, third. This is the fourth batch of sunflowers now. Putting 2 in each pot, 6.5 inch. And she's just tucking them back in that little hole right there. You can see that sunflower there is the first one out. A lot of them are starting to get like a head on them, but not showing much color yet. As you've seen yesterday, Dad was working on getting the new radiator in the International. He's still, I think, working on getting that in, but he also went this morning and picked up the fuel tank. We got that repaired, so now all the parts are here. We just gotta get the tractor put back together. How's it going?
It was going excellent until I can't get that hose clamp on right there. It just won't, there must be no clearance. Like the hose slipped right on, but I can't slip that hose clamp on. That won't slip on there no how. Like it must be right against the bottom.
Huh.
And so I'm gonna split the hose clamp and try to feed it through, and hopefully I don't ruin the hose clamp. I just went to Johnny's and got it.
So the new radiator's in there. You can see the new foam growing around the outside of it. Just working on getting that last clamp on, and then you'll be ready to start on the fuel tank.
Yeah. Well, I got some more lines to hook fast. But
Yeah.
yep.
The fuel tank sits right in this like cavity right here. Out here is the fuel tank. You can see right there is where they patched and welded it. So for the high tunnel, usually we just put on potash, which is that right there. But this year we're gonna put on this fertilizer, which is a mixture of not only potash, but nitrogen and phosphorus. So you can see it's 23% potash, 4% phosphorus, and 23% nitrogen. And we need 10 pounds for the whole upper high tunnel. That's only 4 pounds, wow. So now that we got our potash, we're ready to start spreading here in the upper high tunnel. We still have our drip lines in from last year, which we're gonna put new down. But what we were doing, since obviously rain can't get in here, was running water through and watering our beds where the row's gonna be. Basically just loosen that collar and the drip line pops right off. Now we can go through and pull it right up out. Oops. That'd be cool in slow motion. $10 pounds will equal 1.5 pounds per row. We already figured out that around 3 cups is 1.5 pounds. So that right there is good. Now what she's gonna do is go straight down the row
Now the bed's gonna be like approximately 2 feet wide. So just go straight down the row. And try and do an even spread. Whoa, you're going really heavy. Takes a little bit to get the hang of it, but I've been doing it for like probably 4 years now. I think this might be the 5th year for this high tunnel. That looks perfect. I'd rather have extra at the end than not enough. So you can just come back up. I just went over to the neighbors and picked up lime. So now me and Sammy are starting to spread that. You can see we already did a couple passes on here because we were just trying to figure out how much to put on. And so we're just about done in this high tunnel. We gotta do a little more yet. I gotta start here. Gotta get a row and a half out of this. Oh, that might have been a little bit too much. My pap every year lets us borrow his tiller. It's ready to go. And so is the soil, so here we go. I got done with the upper high tunnel, then I brought the tiller down to the lower high tunnel, and 3rd gear with this tiller is extremely fast. Like, I'm talking so fast, when I let the clutch go, which is right there, the tires start to spin and it takes off, and I basically have to run with it. But anyway, I brought it down here, it was in 3rd gear, it was running obviously, and if you put the clutch on like this, and you put that piece of metal on the hook there, you can keep it in gear, but it doesn't move. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna park the tiller here and I'm gonna move some of that stuff in there, that way I can till with no problem. Well, look my problem now. What happened was the tiller, I guess that little piece of metal popped off. It was in 3rd gear and I had it sitting, I guess directed right at the door. And I'm down there, all of a sudden I hear kapoom. The tiller hit the door, took the door right off. You can see it pulled all these screws out, snapped that board off. It really ruined that board up there. All this stuff is snapped, down there is broke. And the tiller only stopped because it was like hung up on the board there. And you can see it started digging itself a hole. So now I've spent all this time fixing this door, and now I gotta go back and fix it again, which I'm not gonna do right now. My main concern is getting this thing tilled, but just another job now I've got on my hands. This one's really simple. It's not even about half as long as the upper one. And I only did 1 till because Dad wants to go through and spray this now, and then I'll go through and till it again. And then that's when we'll dig our trench for the drip line and then lay fabric over top of it all. Here's the upper one. And again, this will get tilled again. This is only 1 pass. Some spots it's kind of like cocoa powder. Others it's a little more chunky, but that's also where it's more wet, which is kind of what I want. It's funny because we've been watering this, not every day, but pretty often. And when we do, we water all day long through the drip. You'd think it would be absolutely saturated, but with how hot it's been and that being the only water that it gets, it's not very wet.